Well, you can't come out here and make a video without having the chickens all gather up because they think that you're going to give them something to eat. And all they know all day long is eat, 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 poop. Eat, eat, poop. That's about it. So if you look at them, they're everywhere. They're hanging out with Mama. They came out thinking I got some food. Now they decided I don't. Oh, she's just going to do another YouTube video. We're going back in the house. Looky there. They know where the food is. Look at them. Okay, Mama, you had your chance. We're gone. So this is my very first video for my Oklahoma gardening YouTube channel. I created it in 2012, I believe, and I have not done a thing with it. Well, I'm retired now, and I have decided that it's time for me to do the things that I wanted to do. So this is my old garden. This is where I used to have my big garden, and when I had my kids home and married and all that kind of stuff. That was my garden. Good thing was it was really fertile ground. Bad thing was the base of it is clay, and then the actual ground is nothing but just gumbo. So when it rains, the gumbo sucks up the water, and the clay holds it there until... I didn't ask you. So that's what happens when everybody else has a drought. Well, that's when my ground is doing its best, and that's when everything's like a fertile myrtle and it just goes crazy. But it's been a couple of years now since I've tried to, well, no, I had one year before last and it just didn't do anything because it was just too wet and everything died. So what I did was I turned this into the chickens and threw a whole bunch of leaves out here. My neighbors brought me bags and bags of leaves, and the chickens just turned it into dirt immediately. And then I brought a whole bunch of my bedding out of the chicken house. I've got almost 100 chickens. I supply for all of the people in my area, and I get quite a few eggs every day, and so I sell those locally. And absolutely enjoy it. Think it's just the most wonderful thing in the world God's ever given me. And so this year I thought, you know, it looks really good right now. This ground, it was really dry and had big crevices in it over the summertime. It had this is a tree I bought, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It's a bush. It's not really a tree. It's not going to be a big tree. It's a small tree. It's a magnolia. It's called a Jane magnolia, and so I had to have it. And so this summer, boy, it just lost its leaves, and I don't know if it's going to come back. I really hope it does. But it didn't even bloom out until, I don't know, about September, early September, maybe late September. And which is really odd because they normally bloom early in spring. And so so it's there, and it's going to be fine right there. I put it there to give the chicken something to hide under, but it's not really that big to hide under yet, and it doesn't have any whole lot of shade, so that's kind of what I put it there for. So it's right in the middle of my garden. So I've been trying to think, what am I going to do with this space, because they don't really want to come out here. It's too sunny. They love shade. It's hot for them, and there's nothing over them. So if you notice, there's just a big wild area behind me. So what happens is they're subject to anything that flies in the air. And boy, we've got a lot of things that fly in the air. We've got owls. We've got chicken hawks, I don't know what else. We've got all kinds of stuff. We've even got eagles out here occasionally. And so they're just kind of like sitting ducks, but they're sitting chickens. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anyway, I've got a compost right over here pile that I haven't done anything with it because I was too busy working. And so I just kind of let everything just sit for a while. Well, come this past April, I retired. So now I have more time to do things. Well, my chickens come out here, and they do come when in the morning is really, really early, when it's more shady, not quite as bright. Like right now that I'm here, they'll come out and they'll play. They normally keep the fence line pretty clean too. I don't even have to do anything with the weed eater. And if I turn it back into a garden, that would change. And what I'm thinking about doing, because you have to have, I've not ever really grown corn in years. You have to have a lot of space for corn. Well, I have this, and you have to worry about the deers and all the animals that come in, and you know, the raccoons and things that just come in and grab everything, and squirrels and eat it and part of it and just ruin the rest and leave. And that just makes me mad. You know, I don't mind sharing a little bit, but when they come in and eat it all and destroy the rest and don't eat it. One year I had some hedgehogs come up here and ate overnight all of my tomatoes, because I didn't have a fence. Ate all of my tomatoes and ate all of my squash in one night. And what they didn't eat, it looked like they had a big party and just threw it everywhere. And that really made me mad. Now, if they're hungry, come eat, you know, but don't destroy everything so I can't have it. So I said, okay, that's it, fences. So I'm 68 years old. So the last 7 years I have spent getting my farm prepared so that whenever I retire, this is what I can do. So I built all of these fences myself. Every one of them. I've got fences everywhere. This right here is my old garden, or my new garden that just got demolished with the last 2 frosts that we had, which is fine. I'm going to turn the chickens out in there, but I'm going to wait for a few days because there's a couple of things I want to do before I let them in there. And so I have been really trying to plan my garden for next year, because I really hope to be able to feed my community some really nice, good, fresh garden stuff that's not in hydroponics. I don't believe in hydroponics, but because I think that in order to be fulfilled nutritionally, we really, really need it from the ground. Those hydroponics, I don't know what they put in it. I don't know what kind of chemicals, the additives are that they put in it to make the nutrients that they say that they're given. I just don't trust anymore. I just don't trust. Well, I trust my ground more than I trust anything. And my chickens have really gotten this to where, I mean, it was green before I turned them back out in it. I had it closed off from them and let it grow up, and they have eaten it down to the weeds that they don't like to eat. There's even a goat head out there that's got hot and died. But you know what a goat head is, I guess. It's a weed that it's stickers, and they will hurt you if you step on them barefoot. And so anyway, I have decided that once all of the bad weather clears, this is going to be my corn patch. And I've ordered some peaches and cream corn seeds that I'm going to plant next year. And I'm real excited because when I was a young girl, my oldest sister has a really big farm, and they have silos and things like that where they had their own corn and their own soybeans and their own hay and straw and everything they ever needed to be able to, and sold some, and grass. They sold grass. And so they basically were a working farm, and they fed their own animals off of it. So I learned a lot from her, and still do. And I called her the other day. I said, hey, I want to grow some corn, and I want the corn like you had. I said, I have never ever tasted any corn as good as that before or after. And she says, well, it's peaches and cream. That's what we always had. So I found some peaches and cream online and ordered it, and it should be here sometime soon. Hopefully it'll come. It's coming from Amazon. It's supposed to be non-GMO, so I guess we'll see. I don't really trust too much, but that's the only place I could find it. So I went to Baker Creek and Rare Seeds, and they don't have it. So that's what I want. So that's what I'm going to do. So this whole little patch right here, it's a pretty good sized patch. It's every one of those posts are 10 feet apart, and the fencing is 5 feet tall. So it might not look so big, but it is. And then this right here is just a really wild area, and I'm getting ready to clean some of that out, hopefully this winter when it's warm days enough to where I can. And move the fence over just a little bit so the chickens have a little bit more shade whenever they get turned out in there. But there's a chicken in that in those weeds right there, those green weeds. They rarely ever get in there. And the funny thing is that, I don't know what it is, but the bees love that stuff, so I kept it there. I mean, they will come and they'll be all over that thing. And my next door neighbor has bees, and their honey is the best honey I've ever tasted. Last year, the honey tasted like flowers. I mean, if you could imagine what a flower smells like, it tasted like that. And this year, not so much as flowers, but he left, when he did a lot of his bush hogging, he left some blackberry vines, bushes, whatever you call them, patches out there. And this year, the honey tastes a lot like blackberries, which is amazing. So I'm excited about that. And I don't know, I talked to him about me having bees, and I said, well, you know, they swarm. And I'm going, oh, maybe I don't want bees. But I sure do love their honey, and I sure would like to have some all year long. They only get to collect it once a year, I think. So it's you have to buy a whole lot in the beginning. So this is right here. Let me see if I can show it to you easier without making you sick and going around too much. But this is going to be where the posts are someday. And where the you can see right here is a post, and let's see if I can do this. Where is it? Right. Oh, I can't find it. I guess I have to be over. Okay. Right here is a post. And then I've got 3 posts. Let me back up a little bit. Right here is a post. Right. You can see that one pretty easy. Right here is a post. And that's going to be my greenhouse someday, if I can get it built. And it's going to be 12 by 24. And my son started it about 7 years ago, and had all kinds of issues with his tractor and all kinds of things, and it just wasn't meant to be, which is fine. He tried, and it was just more than what he had the tools for. And so anyway, that's going to be someday going to be my greenhouse. Well, right now I kept putting the bedding from the chickens in that area. And they come out here and they dust bathe in it, and you can see I've already got the stuff for the sides of it, the roof and the sides of it, but I just can't get it done without having the whole thing done. So I have decided that I'm going to take some of this fencing that I have left over, and I'm going to fence that one area, that 12 by 24 in, because this ground is not conducive for anything underground, to any root crop. So I think I'm going to try next year to put potatoes there and see how they do. I think they'll do great since I've got all the compost and the chickens have been digging in it and stuff. I think that'll be wonderful. And I'm going to make the chicken house fence go further on up this way. So it'll be a little bit longer. It'll have more room whenever I close them out of everything. And then this right here is my new garden, which this year didn't do too good. I had tomatoes and I had okra, and that was about all that it was able to do because I got down. I had some issues early in my retirement and couldn't move, and all I could do was weed this part right here out, and the rest of it just got ahead of me, and I was not able to do the rest of it. So this winter, I have a lot planned for this winter. So this winter, if you can see all of this up in, up right here, all of that up in there needs to be weeded. Well, and right in here too. And all that needs to be really weeded, and I'm going to till it. And hopefully that'll help a lot. And that's going to be like my green beans and peas and squash and things like that. And then I'll probably put my okra probably against this fence right here, because I think I'm going to make my rows different again. I made my rows this year east and west, and I think I'm going to make them north and south instead. Not really that sure which way I'm going to go with them. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments, because that part I'm not really sure of. But I built a couple of raised beds, which, if you can see the one on the right, is just plywood. And it's got really good fertile soil in it. And I put some potatoes in there, and they did absolutely nothing. Well, they made real good tops, but whenever I pulled the tops off, there was nothing underground. I mean, absolutely nothing. It was just a green plant, that's all it was. I have never had that happen to me. And then the one that's made out of landscape timbers, I don't know that I ever want to make one out of landscape timbers again, because you can see it's just a piece of crap. It's just that nothing anymore is straight or even. It all bows up. It's just crap. And so I will probably never ever do that again. I would rip that one out if I didn't need it. We'll see how it works. But so that is going to be my plans for my garden next year. I've already got several of my seeds, because I was worried that might not, you know, it's getting to the point where you don't really have a whole lot of choice, and things just get bought out by people who have backyard gardens. And when you have a bigger garden and you need bigger, you know, a lot more seeds, it just doesn't, it's not easy to find. But look at this ground here where I'm planning on putting my potatoes. Look at this. How, can you see what I'm doing? Right here. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? That is just so composty. It's just wonderful. I'm getting to the point where I hardly can wait. Well, anyway, this is getting a little bit long for my first video for my Oklahoma gardening. If you can give me any suggestions or hints or tips or anything like that, I wish you would. I would really appreciate it, because I've been a gardener all of my life. Since I was a little kid, I helped my mom and my dad. My dad taught me a lot, but they're both gone now, and I don't remember a whole lot of it because I was, you know, growing up and all kinds of things, and so I probably forgot more than most people know. So anyway, if you'll help me remember all the stuff that I used to know, and give me comments and suggestions, I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.